Saints quarterback Jameis Winston has been putting in a lot of work this offseason, working out with a myriad of different Saints receivers, from Ty Montgomery to Tre'Quan Smith to Adam Troutman. But there's one guy that's been consistent with all of this, and it's wide receiver Juwan Johnson. And we have to sit here and ask ourselves, are we sleeping on Juwan Johnson? We get into all that and more on today's edition of the Black and Gold Breakdown Podcast. What is going on? It is the one and only Who Dat Davis here for you. And if you don't know, you will know that over here, we bleed black and gold until we are dead and cold. And thank y'all for checking out today's edition of the Black and Gold Breakdown Podcast. And before we get down with the breakdown, I want to give a special shout out to everybody that has been hitting the subscribe button over the last couple of days. As of recently, you guys must have seen that we have dropped our first highlight video on this channel. It is thanks to Big Wide Receiver Guy over on Twitter. I found it. I was like, hey, you know what? He does some great content. It's underlooked, and I know how that feels. So why not use my platform to give his video some love? And sure and behold, you guys have been tuning in, watching that little highlight video. You guys have been showing that love, and it's been absolutely amazing. He deserves it, and I hope to put more highlight videos out there for you guys to enjoy in terms of new Saints players coming in or coming out or anything in between. That's going to be another form of content we get here on this channel. But with all that being said, I need you guys to do me one more favor. Please continue hitting that subscribe button. We are still on course to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, by December of this year. If we get 1,000 by the end of this year, it will be absolutely amazing. And I will try to put something together for you guys as a big thank you gift. We are still on course to hit 600 likes and followers on the Facebook page. If you guys have a Facebook, you guys want to continue getting source news content from your board, go check out the Facebook page. That link is down in the description below. You guys have a Twitter, go follow me over there. The Twitter handle is also down in the description below. And last but not least, we now have an Instagram. Yes, we have expanded our platform to cover Instagram. Our Instagram handle is also down in the description below. So with all that being said, let's get down with the breakdown. We're going to talk about a handful of things. First, we're going to talk about wide receiver Juwan potentially being slept on. We're going to go over all of the draft picks for the New Orleans Saints in this year's 2021 NFL Draft, which is now just about a week removed. And last but not least, we're going to be talking about the undrafted free agents and who we could expect potentially making the Saints 53-man roster. Let's get into it. Topic number one, Juwan Johnson. As I said earlier, Jameis Winston has been working out with a handful of different players this offseason. He's been really putting in work. He's been working out with Tre'Quan Smith, the new tight end one, and Adam Troutman. And now Juwan Johnson. He has been a consistent person showing up in all these workouts. He's worked up with Ty Montgomery on top of that. But Juwan Johnson is a guy that, that hasn't been talked about. And I have to wonder, is he poised to make a breakout? Is he poised to make the roster? Juwan Johnson, during the Vikings, the Christmas game with the Minnesota Vikings, was compared to Marcus Colston, Payton himself. That's some high praise, and that's a lot of shoes he needs to fill there if he's being praised like that. But Juwan Johnson, is he poised to make the 53-man roster? It's possible. However, as much as I would love to see Big 83 make the roster, I'm still high on either Quan Baker or Lil Jordan Humphrey. Lil Jordan Humphrey, when he got his name called, he beasted, he balled out. He was a go-to guy during the wild card round next to Deontay Harris and Jared Cook against these Chicago Bears. Look, Lil Jordan Humphrey is a guy that I've watched since Texas. His route running isn't the best, but he's a big physical receiver. He can high point the football. And with Jameis Winston, when he was airing it out over in Tampa Bay under Bruce Arians' risky no biscuit offense, Lil Jordan Humphrey ends up being a guy that can win those 50-50 balls. Put it up there. He has a good catch radius. He's elusive when he gets his feet planted back on the ground. He's hard to take down. He'll fight for those extra yards. Lil John Humphrey is one of my main guys, but Juwan Johnson, if he can replicate something like that, Juwan Johnson is going to be really, really good in this offense. He's actually a really strong blocker when his number was called, alongside Lil John Humphreys and Tommy Lee Lewis on a couple of games. The most prominent game he stood out in was against Chicago during the regular season. Juwan Johnson, coming out of the undrafted receiver coming out of Oregon, he played alongside Justin Herbert. We all know how good Justin Herbert is. Juwan Johnson, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got going on. Can he live up to the expectations that Sean Payton apparently has for him? Now, with all that being said, let's get into the next topic of the conversation. If we have to revisit the Juwan Johnson discussion, we will. The NFL draft. Let's go over all the picks that the New Orleans Saints made, and let's get into some rumors and reports that are related to the Saints. Starting with the picks, number 1, Payton Turner. You guys saw for yourselves. I was not happy with the Payton Turner selection at number 28. I was heated. I was mad, as everybody else was. But that following day, I took a minute to look at the footage after getting a full night of sleep, and I can understand why they went after this guy. He may have the build of Marcus Davenport, but the difference between he and Marcus Davenport, he doesn't have the injury history that Marcus Davenport does. He's only had he's only had 4 broken fingers, and he only went down to COVID-19 during his collegiate career. He tore his ACL in high school, but he's been healthy ever since. So he overall has a really clean injury history. And when you watch his tape, he has a high motor. He uses his length. He's a bull rusher, but he also has some really good technique. He can run that edge. He can swim the edge. He can get in the backfield and make tackles for loss. He's had 12 tackles for loss during his collegiate career. He's had 5 sacks in 5 games. Payton Turner is a really interesting prospect. I'm pulling for him officially. I am on the Payton Turner train, especially when you're considering that the defensive ends for the Saints are not only getting old on the part of Karen Jordan, but you have Marcus Davenport, who the Saints picked up the 5th-year option on. He's going to be gone by the end of 2023, and you have Carl Granderson already on his last year. So if Payton Turner can really turn the table, he can really get it going, he can have an instant impact on the Saints defensive end, then that really says a lot about what Marcus Davenport is doing wrong. So, hey, I'm all for PT98, and you can see he wants to be here. His high energy, his smile, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I believe that when Tom Brady is gone from the Tampa Bay Bucks, Payton Turner is going to be the Kyle Trask, what Cam Jordan was to Matt Ryan throughout his entire Saints career, and I cannot wait for it. The next pick in the NFL draft was pick number 60. We had Pete Werner, the linebacker out of Ohio State. This is one of my favorite picks of the NFL draft. Pete Werner was the leading tackler for Ohio State just last season. He was second the year before in the 2019 season. Pete Werner is a guy who can cover. He's never allowed a reception to a running back or a tight end for more than 10 yards. No more than 10 yards. Pete Werner is a guy who can cover. He can get sideline to sideline. And when he's playing the run, he's very patient. And when he finds his opportunity, when he finds his hole, he explodes through it. He's a physical guy. When you watch Pete Werner's interview, you can tell that he has an energy about him. Yeah, Pete Werner emphasized the fact that he's easy to get along with. He's smooth going when he's off the field, when he's relaxing with his girlfriend, when he's relaxing at home. But when he's on the field, he has this whole different vibe about him. He's fierce, he's intense, and that's the kind of play that we need out of our linebackers. We haven't had someone like that since Kiko Alonso was paired up with Demario Davis, and we all know how Kiko Alonso was very serviceable before he eventually got let go from the Saints. So this is more of a Kiko Alonso with an upside. I can't wait to see what Pete Werner does in this offense. Sean Payton went on to say that he's going to be getting snaps at the Mike position and the Will position, primarily Will at the start to see how he does there. He may get some snaps at the Mike, but I believe he's going to make this team. He's got it all right. He's picked number 60. That's very, very high value for a linebacker, and he's coming out of Ohio State. You know how successful the Saints franchise has been drafting Ohio State players. all the way back to Malcolm Jenkins. If you're more of a recent fan, you can look at Michael Thomas from 2016. Then you've got, now you got Pete Werner. Look, it goes on. So let's get into the next pick here. Number 98, the Saints traded up from the 98 spot and they packaged in the 105th to move up to the 70s to select Paulson Adebo, the defensive back out of Stanford. Paulson Adebo is another good pick that a lot of people weren't talking about. Paulson Adebo, coming out of the 2019 season, was regarded as one of the top corners coming into the draft. If he was to declare for the NFL draft after the 2019 season, he would have gone number one. But he went back to Stanford. He opted out of the 2020 season, and that's why his draft stock fell. But he is an excellent outside corner. He can play man. He can play zone. He's got great eye recognition. His technique could be a little better, but that's what happens when you take a whole season off of not playing football. You get a little rusty. And we all know the success that new Saints defensive back coach Chris Richard has had with a Stanford corner. Who am I talking about? Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman and Chris Richard had a great connection together during their time in Seattle, and Chris Richard knows how to get these Stanford corners playing at an elite level. So very, very high hopes for Paulson Adebo. He's my second favorite out of this whole draft. Let's get into the next pick for the New Orleans Saints. They selected Landon Young, offensive tackle out of Kentucky. Landon Young is a quality offensive tackle. He started over 2,500 snaps for the Kentucky team. He's had just less than 10 sacks allowed and over 1,028 snaps. So 1,028 pass blocking snaps. He's only allowed 8 sacks in his entire collegiate career. Landon Young can play all over the field. He's highlighted the fact that he's been training to play all four spots. All four spots meaning every tackle and guard position minus center. Landon Young can do those things. So that is a quality depth piece to have if you're going to have him on a roster, especially since you re-sign, since you let go of Nick Easton due to a series of concussion injuries. Landon Young has a lot of upside compared to Nick Easton. So I'm very, very much looking forward to that. And the pick before that, they selected Ian Book, the quarterback out of Notre Dame. We all know what Sean Payton can do with a quarterback with low height, low stature, not that great of an arm. Ian Book is a guy that doesn't jump off the page with you, but he's one of the best Notre Dame quarterbacks to ever come into the program. Ian Book has great pocket awareness, pocket presence. He can scramble. He can make throws on a run. He can make them off script kind of plays. My only knock on Ian Book, he's a little too reckless with the football when he's throwing it up there. 2019, you saw a pretty big dip in production out of Ian Book, even though his design runs were still pretty consistent. Ian Book just has to be better about standing tall in the pocket, quickly diagnosing where he wants to go with the football, be a little more decisive. But those are things you can coach up. He's going to be the QB3. I do believe the Saints are going to let go of Trevor Siemian. They're probably going to waive him because never has the Saints had 4 quarterbacks on the roster. See Tommy Stevens last year. And then we have Quan Baker, wide receiver out of South Alabama, taken 255th overall. Quan Baker was an excellent slot receiver for the South Alabama Jaguars. He was he get down the field. He has sub 4.4 speed. He has a low 4.4, high 4.43 type of speed. He can play the inside. He can play the outside in certain schemes. If you get him down the field on a post route or a go route, he can high point the football. He has some drop issues, but those things that can also be coached up. He's going to be learning from the likes of Michael Thomas. You can learn from Sean Payton in this offense and what they want to see out of him. He's another guy that's going to be competing for that last spot on the 53-man roster in terms of receivers, because right now you have Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith, Deontay Harris, Marquez Callaway, and now you have that other spot right there that you're not too sure about. There might be one spot, maybe even 2 spots. But Assuming there is one spot, let's just go there real quick. There is one more spot on that receiving team. Then Quan Baker's got some stiff competition because Lil Jordan Humphrey is going to be hungry. He's going to want more. He already had a taste of what success looks like in the Saints offense when he scored a touchdown for the first time in the Saints jersey in the regular season against the former defending Super Bowl champions Kansas City Chiefs. And he had impact in the wild card game against the Chicago Bears. Overall, I'm pretty content. I'm pretty content with the Saints draft. I'm pretty content with what these guys can potentially bring to this team. You got your starting defensive end coming in. You got a linebacker that can stay healthy and can be consistent in both the run and the pass, alongside Demario Davis. You have Paulson Adebo. You have your number 2 corner. You have your quarterback number 3 and Ian Book, and you have your quality offensive line depth and versatility and Landon Young. Your only uncertainty is Quan Baker. I hope Quan Baker shows up, balls out, and do what he needs to do. Now, let's get into the undrafted free agent rookies that have been signed by the New Orleans Saints and who I believe is going to be able to make this roster. Number 1, I've got Lawrence Wood. Lawrence Wood is a guy you guys probably don't know about, but Lawrence Wood is a lethal special teams guy. He can play gunner. He can play the punt return. He can play the kick return, field punts. He's absolutely deadly. What this means is if he can have that kind of production, if he can show flashes of being able to be a reliant returner for special teams, then that just leaves more opportunities for the likes of Deontay Harris in the offense. You can get more snaps there. It puts less stress on his body. If Lawrence Wood can replicate that Deontay Harris effect, then that's really, really good for both guys involved. Even though Deontay Harris probably loves returning those punts, returning those kicks, his role is expanding. He's going to need to be able to be counted on to be part of the Saints offense, the Saints offensive attack, especially with Jameis Winston, assuming he beats out Taysom Hill in training camp. So Lawrence Wood has that Deontay Harris effect. If the Saints can create another all-pro returner from the undrafted free agent market, then that just shows how very, very good this Saints staff really is. And the next guy I have here is Trill Williams, the defensive back out of Syracuse, the nickel safety. Trill Williams is not the fastest guy out there, but he's got great instincts. He's got great awareness about his game. He's a little too aggressive. He has to improve on his anticipation, just like Smokers YT said. If you haven't checked out his content, go ahead and check out that content. But Trill Williams is the guy I also have making the roster alongside Lawrence Wood. So that's 2 right there. Trill Williams and Lawrence Wood. Trill Williams is a guy that can set the edge. He has like I said, he has a great awareness. Trill Williams can be an impact guy in the right spots. So that's another one. Next, you have Shaq Smith, the former Clemson who went into the transfer portal and he went over to Maryland. Shaq Smith, I don't have much info about. Shaq Smith is probably going to be a camp body. He's probably going to be on the practice squad. I don't see him making the practice squad. He's not that much of an impact guy, but he is physical. He can play the pass. From what I understand, he can play the pass really well. So that got him some eyes from the New Orleans Saints. But other than that, there's not much I can really say. So my opinion on Shaq Smith is going to be determined. The jury's still out on him. Next, we have Dylan Sater, the tight end out of Iowa State. Dylan Sater is definitely going to make this team. Dylan Sater is a great blocking tight end. He was the number 2 rated. He was the second best blocking tight end coming out of his collegiate career. He is very, very good. If the Saints go with that third tight end, they can let go of Ethan Wolf. They can let go of either Ethan Wolf or maybe even Garrett Griffin and bring this man up to the roster. They can run their 2 tight end sets. They can really shore up their run game, which is what the Saints have been showing signs of doing on a consistent basis back to when they extended Andrews Pete to that still ridiculous long-term deal. And then they bring in Alex Armour, the versatile fullback that could be a great lead blocker going up the gap or going up the left or right sides between the guard and the tackle, from the A gaps to B gaps. Alex Armour can do those type of things. He also catch passes out of the backfield just as good as Michael Burton, if not even better. And then you have Ty Montgomery coming back on a 1-year deal. He's probably going to see more passing snaps than running snaps, but he's very serviceable. He's listed as a running back, so you could see him in the backfield alongside Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray. And when you have a new quarterback coming into your first year without Drew Brees, you're going to want to lean more on that run game. And you have a 3 running back set. If you have a 3-headed monster back there, then that can be very hard to defend against. So all signs point to them being a more run-efficient team. And Ty Montgomery and Alex Armour, and now you have Dylan Sater, who can set the edges for you. He could be that next Josh Hill. He's going to be wearing number 89, from what I'm told. He's going to be that next Josh Hill, and I'm very much looking forward to it. By the way, shouts out to Josh Hill, man. You had a very, very successful career. I'm sorry you had to retire a Detroit Lion. I hope they bring you on a 1-day contract so you can retire a New Orleans Saint. The Detroit Lions do not deserve you retiring there. You know, you started your career, and you should end your career with the Saints. A very much unsung hero. You've done the dirty work for this team so other guys around you could shine. Thank you, and I really hope you have a successful retirement, my man. Thank you for everything. Next up, we have Eric Burrell, the safety out of Wisconsin. Zach Bond and Eric Burrell played together before Zach Bond declared for the draft. Eric Burrell is a really good safety. He can play the box like Malcolm Jenkins, and with no quality depth behind them, I can see him making a roster as a backup if Malcolm Jenkins goes down for an injury, or maybe even Marcus Williams goes down with an injury. He can slide him in there. He can play him as a free safety, but he's more of a box safety like Malcolm Jenkins. So I wouldn't expect him too much from that free safety spot. He's definitely a good strong safety, but he can drop back into coverage if need be. He's been effective. He needs to improve on his eye disciplines just a little bit. He needs to have He needs to have an improved short area burst to be able to really consistently be counted on. But Eric Burrell, working with Chris Richard, I think is going to be just fine. He's going to most likely make the roster as a depth piece. Then you have offensive lineman. Excuse me here. I don't know much about this offensive lineman other than the fact that he's probably just going to be a guy that's going to be on a practice squad. But and then you have Indiana running back Stevie Scott III. Stevie Scott is a bruiser. He can get north to south on his runs. He can stick his foot in the ground. He can get upfield. He's not going to wire you with his breakaway speed. But when he gets north to south and you're one-on-one with him, he's going to make you hurt. He's going to make you pay for it. Stevie Scott is a guy that is similar in build to Latavius Murray, except he has a little more lower body strength compared to Latavius Murray. He can break out of arm tackles. He's not going to get tripped up that easily. And he can run you over, not like Latavius Murray. He's more of a jump cut kind of guy. He's more of a stick and go kind of guy. He doesn't have that lower body strength like Mark Ingram or Stevie Scott. But the fact that they're kind of similar in weight and height, Latavius Murray is probably going to look forward to mentoring this dude going forward. He's probably not going to make the roster. So don't count on that. But he could be a nice answer going forward if Latavius Murray gets released after this offseason, which is probably what I would probably project. But in terms of everybody I believe is going to be making this roster, I think we're going to see Trill Williams, Eric Burrell, and then maybe even Bryce Thompson. Bryce Thompson is a guy that I was pretty high on, Bryce Thompson, and coming out of Tennessee. And then we have Dylan Sater. Those are my 4 guys out of the 11 that they have signed this offseason. Overall, this is a very, very successful undrafted free agent pool they got going on here. I look forward to seeing what happens. But let's go ahead and read some of these comments here, man. Let's read some of these comments. He likes the picks we got over the weekend. I like them too. It took a minute for me to sit down to really ponder the Payton Turner thing, but I really like it. I really like it so far. You got your defensive fit for the future. You've got your linebacker to go alongside Demario Davis that can be counted on to stay healthy and play consistent in both run and the pass. You've got your quarterback, your QB3, so Taysom Hill can, slide himself back into that do-it-all role. assuming he wants to. And then you got offensive line depth, quality depth, and then young, and you got an interesting wide receiver in Quan Baker, who I'm hoping makes the team, just like Juwan Johnson. He's not sleeping on Juwan Johnson. I'm not either, and a lot of people really shouldn't. Juwan Johnson, he didn't really do much last year, but in his few bright spots, he looked pretty good. There's no telling if he's going to make the roster just because he's been working out with Jameis Winston, but Jameis Winston seems to really like what Juwan Johnson has. He likes the size, he likes the strong hands. I think he just likes working with Juwan Johnson. He's been working out with a lot of different guys, but Juwan Johnson's been there with a lot of them. So it's anyone's guess if that actually translates to anything, but it's a good step in the right direction for Juwan Johnson making the team if he can pull it off over Quan Baker. What's going on, Ro? Glad to see you here, man. Hope you're doing all right. He says, I think Saints should convert Juwan Johnson to tight end. I've been saying it for the longest. Yeah, I can understand that. He doesn't really has the size. He has the size to be a tight end. What is he, like 6'4", maybe 6'5"? I think he's 6'5". But yeah, he's definitely got the size. He's got the strength. If he can play that tight end spot, hey, that's just as good. He can play that. He can play that F roll for tight ends. Go up the middle. Look, I'm fine with that. But I also think he will be just as good as a wide receiver. It all depends on who's throwing the ball to him. When you watch this tape at Oregon, playing with Justin Herbert, he looked really strong there at the receiver position. So I think it's all about fit for Juwan Johnson. I think Jameis Winston could be a good fit for him if he does end up making the roster. Yeah, that's where I'm at. But I hope the best for Juwan Johnson. Very, very underrated. He shouldn't have gone undrafted. I believe he was a day 3, 6th round pick. I believe him to be a 6th round pick going into day 3. How he fell so far is kind of a travesty to what he can bring to a team. Rose City, Jerry Poole shouting out Rose City, man. Shouting out Rose City. All right, guys, look. At the end of the day, we got a lot of interesting things coming up. We still are going to be doing that film study for draft prospects from Payton Turner all the way down to Quan Baker. Even though you guys have probably already checked out the highlight reel I posted on the YouTube channel, we're going to do a little film. Watch you got him anyway. Payton Turner, we're going to start with him first. I'm still trying to find that right software to use. I'm probably going to do it either on my Twitch or probably on my Streamlabs. We'll wait and see what happens. But like I said, if you want to keep up to date on that type of information, just follow me on my Facebook page at facebook.com/blackandgoldbreakdown, or you can follow me on my Instagram at WhoDatDavis, or you can follow me on my Twitter at RealAaronDavis. All those handles are in the description below. So expect that within the next couple of days. I'm not sure yet, but whenever we get something going, you will be made aware the day before. So make sure you guys bring all your friends, bring all your Saints fans, Saints friends, fans, whatever. Let's have a good time. That's it. That's all for this video. Whatever news comes out, as always, you guys are expecting another video from me. I will see you guys later. As always, we bleed black and gold. Until